Hi Vaishnavi and others, welcome to visalakshivlog, a homemaker's diary. As per the wish of Vaishnavi, இன்னைக்கு டைரி பேஜில் டேனியல் டிஃபோஸ் ராபின்சன் க்ரூசோங்கிற நாவலுடைய கிரிட்டிக்கல் சம்மரி, கேரக்டர் அனாலிசிஸ் அண்ட் த ரீசன்ஸ் ஃபார் த பாப்புலாரிட்டி ஆஃப் த புக் என்னன்னு பார்க்கலாம். கேரக்டர்ஸ் இன் ராபின்சன் க்ரூசோ. The first main character is Robinson Crusoe. Robinson is the protagonist and the narrator of the novel. He is individualistic, self-reliant and adventurous. He continually discounts the good advice and warnings of his parents and others. He boldly seeks to make his own life by going to sea. Friday is the next character. Robinson Crusoe names the man Friday with whom he cannot at first communicate. This character is the source of expression. The term man Friday is used to describe a male personal assistant or servant, especially one who is particularly competent or loyal. Zuri is the next character. Zuri is a non-white slave boy with whom Crusoe escapes captivity. Crusoe escapes from the clutches of the pirates with two slaves, one of whom is Zuri. While he forces one to swim ashore, he keeps Zuri on board his boat. Later on, when the Portuguese captain picks them up, Crusoe sells Zuri to him. Spaniard is the next character in Robinson Crusoe. Spaniard is one of the men from a Spanish ship that crashes near the island where Crusoe lives for a long time. All the crew is rescued by cannibal tribe and taken to another island nearby. Now, let us analyze the causes for the popularity of Robinson Crusoe. Next to Bible, Robinson Crusoe has been translated into many languages and edited many times in each language. The novel appeals to people of different age groups for different reasons. Robinson Crusoe is an immortal character in English fiction. All like his resilience and love of adventure. What distinguishes Crusoe is his unquenchable restlessness. He never stays in a place. He is goaded by an insatiable thirst for adventure. When he is in Hull, his father, a sane and sedate businessman, advises him to stick to the middle station in society because it is free from dangers and ups and downs. But Crusoe hates such an uneventful life. He longs for adventures. Also, he wants to amass riches in as short as period as possible. So, he defies his father's advice and goes on a voyage. When waves rise sky high during his first voyage, he is terrified and vows never more to go on a voyage. But when he reaches safely, he forgets his vow and is once again seized with wanderlust. His plantation business turns out to be quite successful, but he does not want to rest content. He wants to scale still greater heights. His next voyage is a disastrous one. He is cast on an uninhabited island. He is in utter doldrums. Soon he regains his resilience and learns to subsist independently. After routing the cannibals, his position is impregnable. But he is urged by the desire to go back to England. Even after returning to England, he does not want to rest. He takes measures to convert the island where he spent many years into a colony. Thus, he keeps climbing the social ladder without any rest. Crusoe is a courageous person. Crusoe is, beyond doubt, a very courageous man, though at times he is seized with fear. He panics when he sees large-sized footprints on the lonely island. He is terrified by the sight of cannibals, but Crusoe is never cowardly. He has the courage to fight single-handed against the savages. On a later occasion, he fights against the numerically stronger English sailors who have mutinied against their captain. Back in England, he undertakes to travel on foot from France to the English port of Dover. He passes through a forest infested with wolves and other wild animals. He is undismayed. He kills many wolves and reaches Dover safe and sound. Crusoe is very inventive and resourceful. He never yields to despair, even when the odds against him are overwhelming. On the uninhabited island, he has to start almost from the scratch. Soon, he makes such devices as are conducive to a comfortable life. His first accomplishment is building himself a fairly large-sized mud hut with a cave attached to it where he can store valuables like guns, pistols, and ammunition which he retrieves from the wrecked ship. He catches goats and breeds them, and within a short period develops quite a big dairy which yields him a regular supply of milk. He learns to turn milk into cheese. He preserves the skins of the goats that he kills for meat and uses the skins to make caps and clothing for himself. He sees the few wheat, rice, and barley seeds thrown away by him by chance sprouting. He uses the seeds and sowing them on prepared soil gets a bumper harvest. He grinds wheat into flour with a big stone and makes bread. He keeps count of the passing of time by making notches on a wooden board. With Friday's help, he makes a boat and fits it with a rudder and a sail to Friday's great surprise. He has pet animals such as a dog, 2 cats, and a parrot, which he trains to speak. He uses goat's fat to make candles. He builds a larger and more comfortable house on another part of the island where he spends his summer. For all practical purposes, he is like an undisputed monarch. Crusoe and his kindness. Crusoe is very kind to people in distress. A Portuguese captain saves Crusoe from the Moors in his earlier life. Crusoe shows his gratitude years later by selling his Brazilian plantation and giving a part of the money to the Portuguese captain, who is now too old to work. On the uninhabited island, he saves Friday even though he is a savage. He gives protection to the black boy because the latter was in danger of being butchered by cannibals. He teaches Friday all his skills and also redeems him from cannibalism and converts him to Christianity. In the same way, he takes pity on the English captain whose crew had mutinied against him. By playing a trick, Crusoe gets the English captain reinstated. The English captain repays his debt of gratitude by taking the marooned Crusoe back to England. Now let us see Crusoe's religious faith. Crusoe's greatest virtue is his belief in God. Crusoe's father asserts that God had confined him to the middle station in society and that it is a sin to try to rise above it. Crusoe is plagued by a feeling of guilty when he is stranded on the lonely island. He thinks that it is a punishment given to him by God for his rebellious spirit. When he falls seriously ill on the island, he once again attributes it to his moral lapse. He reads the Bible and sincerely prays to God to help him. When he recovers fully, he is profoundly thankful to God. Crusoe is puzzled by the presence of evil. He experiences an unutterable revulsion against the cannibals who come to the island periodically to feast on human flesh. Crusoe's indignation against them is such that he says if he had power, he would exterminate the cannibals' race. Soon he calms down and becomes humble. He resigns himself to God's plan and says that God would destroy the cannibals when he thinks it necessary. When at last he leaves the island, he thanks God for having brought it about. Crusoe represents every man. His love of adventure, helpful tendency, and piety are universal characteristics. Next, we examine the children's approach of the novel. Children love Robinson Crusoe for the abundant, adventurous episodes in it. Crusoe's dangerous voyages, his falling into the hands of Moors, his landing on an uninhabited island, his encounter with the cannibals, his gradual acceptance of his lonely life, and his final return to England, all these are exciting adventures which attract children. The circumstances leading to Crusoe's reaching the lonely island are described in circumstantial detail. Children's pity is evoked as all passengers on board the ship die and Crusoe alone is cast ashore. The way cannibals sit around a fire, roasting and eating human flesh, is bound to have a horrifying effect on children's minds. The outraged children will certainly breathe a sigh of relief when the cannibals are shot at and driven out of the island by Crusoe. Certain other aspects of the novel appeal to the grown-ups and philosophically inclined readers. Crusoe's life on the lonely island may be taken as a lively version of the development of civilization. Man was originally a savage and hunting animals and eating their flesh raw. It is at a much later stage that he invented fire and learned to cook food. Observing certain wheat seeds sprouting, Crusoe learns to cultivate wheat and barley. Using a big stone, he grinds wheat into flour and makes bread. He prepares resins by drying grapes. Resin serves him as nutritious food for a longer time than grapes can. He uses the skins of the animals that he kills as his clothes. He makes a boat and rows a short distance on the sea. He uses the fat of goats as candles. He marks the passage of time by engraving one notch for every week on a wooden board. This part of the novel reads like a history of ancient civilizations and man's groping and persistent efforts to better his lot. Crusoe and the Christian missionary. Crusoe's encounter with cannibals represents hard efforts that the followers of Christ had to take in order to make barbarians accept Christianity. Crusoe gives shelter to the incipient cannibal Friday. He tells Friday about life and martyrdom of Jesus in such a moving manner that Friday is won over to Christianity. Crusoe says that Friday is a sincere follower of Christ and that even he cannot attain his spiritual height. The Crusoe-Friday relationship and the tussle between Crusoe and the hordes of cannibals represent the Herculean efforts taken by ancient Christian missionaries to spread the gospel. We can list out the other reasons for the popularity of the novel as its simple language. Moreover, the novel is about a son's wanderings and the final return to his father. This can be taken as an allegory of the biblical story of the prodigal son. The overcoming of cannibals and the conversion of Friday is a symbolic rendering of the shedding of the primitive gods of Old Testament and the acceptance of the Christ and the New Testament. Thus, the novel Robinson Crusoe can be enjoyed in different levels. I hope you enjoyed the novel with visalakshivlog with the moralistic idea that a person can succeed against all odds with the right combination of hard work, planning, thrift, resourcefulness, and religious faith.